All right, it's chapter 3, and we're moving on to, I think it's video number 11 here. And in this example, we're going to carry on with this number 1, 2, 3, and 4, which we're basically going to just sum up 4 numbers and when we click the sum. You would think it would be very similar to the program that we just did above here by just simply reading in the data, parsing it into a decimal, and then adding them up in the calculation, and then outputting the results. And you could do it like that. But in this case, we're going to write code slightly different because we wanted to show you a different way to do it. Now, when we first start off this one, because we know there's going to be inputs, we can start right away with a try-catch block. So what I like to do is I like to actually type in my my try-catch block syntax here, getting it ready to start typing out the rest of my code. Because if I make a mistake in entering in any numbers into the 1, 2, 3, 4, it's going to catch that, and I've got an opportunity to correct that problem. All right, so in the try-catch, the first thing we want to do, of course, is we want to run our DACO, which is our declare. We want to declare some variables. So inside of here, oh, I forgot the other slash. There we go. And let's declare our variables. So what variables do we need to declare? So you have to look at this and think to yourself, okay, I'm going to be entering in 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers, and those 4 numbers need to be stored. So we've got 4 variables right there, and we may choose to have a variable here as well for the total, so possibly 5. So in this case, I'm going to show you that we can keep track of decimals, or there's another data type I want to show you guys. It's called double. This is another type of data type. It allows you to store very large numbers with decimals in it. And then I'm going to give it a name. I'm just going to call this num1. And instead of creating this on 5 separate lines, I'm going to actually create this on multiple, just on one line. So I'm going to say num1, num2, num3. This is another way of writing your code so it's a little bit cleaner, I guess you might say. And then finally, I want to have one for the total. And there we go. So again, we've got those little green lines. We know what that means. All right, so once we've done that, let's do the second step of the DACO, which is to assign these. All right, so to assign them, let's start off with our first variable, which is number 1, and we want it to equal what? Well, if you think back to the previous example up here when we assigned it, we want to take whatever was in that text box, and this is called the number 1 text box, and we want to convert it and parse it into a double type. Now, one thing I did forget when I started this is I never checked my variable types, my names. My control names here, my control names is number 1 text box. This is, yeah, so these ones are num2 text box, so these are all wrong. So I think what I'll do, and for the sake of the video time, is I'll go back in and I'm going to pause the video, and I'm just going to change these to text box num1 and do that for all of my controls. So I'll put it on pause and I'll come back. All right, so I had to go back in, and you can see here this is called the text box num1, and this one here is called num2, num3, and text box num4. The output is called the label total, and I didn't change my button right here because I'd already created my event handler right here, so I didn't want to change that because it causes another problem, which I'll show you in another video. But let's carry on. So we are at the assignment statement, and you might remember from the previous example, we want to parse whatever gets entered into here into the variable type that we declared. So it's a double. So if we start off by saying we want a double parse, and it's a method, so we put in a bracket, and we're going to take the text box for number 1 dot text. There we go. And that should, if I hit the tab key and then I enter in a semicolon, that should basically take whatever gets entered into here. It should then convert that string, which will be a number, hopefully, and it'll parse it into a double data type, and it will take that value and assign it to my variable here called number 1. All right, so it's pretty much a repeat of the last example. So we'll be doing lots of those as we progress. So I'm going to finish these off, and we'll carry on with this in the next video.